ago, I sat down at an already crowded dinner table at my community's mother house. "Are you sure there's room?" I asked when a sister motioned me over. "You can always make room for one more person at a round table," another sister told me as everyone squeezed together and stacked their trays off to the side. I often reflect on this interaction because it taught me a simple lesson about making room for one more person and inviting other people to join me. Today's gospel presents a similar parable. When holding a party, who do we invite? The people that we know well? Or do we invite people whom we have never met? What would happen if we invited people whom we did not know? On a practical level, we might not know how to prepare for the dinner. What foods do they eat? What do they like to drink? Do they have any allergies? But we can easily overcome these concerns. We can prepare a wide variety of foods and drinks to make a guest feel welcome. But we know that this is not the point of today's gospel. The question is really, who do we invite into our lives? Or who do we allow ourselves to be invited by? In today's polarized world where the binaries of liberal and conservative or progressive and traditional pit one side against the other, it is so hard to come to a place where we feel comfortable bridging those divides and reaching outside our own circles. But today's gospel should be a stark wake-up call to many of us who attempt to avoid situations in which we do not know everyone present. We try to avoid inviting an unknown person to join us for a meal or interacting with those with whom we do not know their beliefs or ideologies. However, we are reminded that we are to invite people from the highways and the byways to break bread with us, and likewise, to accept invitations to unknown places. This challenges us to move beyond preconceived notions of who should be invited to a meal, and instead presents us with an opportunity to build relationships with people we may never otherwise encounter. As I mentioned, this time of encounter is a chance to move beyond the boxes of identity that have the potential to trap us in worlds with only our own people. I can only imagine the side comments at the dinner party referenced in today's gospel. What are they doing here? Who invited them? This reminds us that we are called to invite people from all circles, and not just people with whom we already agree. Instead, it's about inviting everyone and making sure that the invitation is open and inclusive. In this time of division and fighting, this requires that we look beyond the polarization. It requires that we ask, who would you invite to a meal? What would happen if you hosted a party that had an exclusive or extensive invitation list? Might it lead to a transformative conversation about racism, LGBTQ rights, Indigenous rights, climate change, immigration, democracy, the church, healthcare? The list goes on and on. What would a conversation look like if we brought folks together to talk about the common good, to truly listen and hear each other's stories? This week, I challenge all of us to dream about how we can create that inclusive and broad dinner invitation so that we can truly live the life of discipleship modeled in today's gospel. And so that it reminds us that community life is not insular, that the building of the beloved community requires all of us.